Episode number 22 of the Third Leg Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, the head of content for bettingnews.com and host of the Afternoon Betspresso, SPJ, aka Sweatpants Jesus. How you doing, buddy?
What is going on, guys? So excited to be joining you today. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. First and foremost, how did you get the name Sweatpants Jesus, and when did you get that name?
Oh man. So this goes back about 2.5 years. When I first got onto Twitter, first got into sports betting, talking about sports, and my fiance. Obviously, if you guys see my face, you see I look relatively like Jesus. So that was the first part of it. But I like to keep things casual. I like to keep things pretty comfortable for the most part. So I was typing stuff up on Twitter at that point a couple of years ago, and I kind of just was like, I don't know, Sweatpant Jesus kind of has a ring to it. And that was the birth of Sweatpant Jesus as my name on Twitter. And then, it's grown ever since then. So,
Dude, it's a high caliber name. Let me just get that off. That is one of the coolest names in gambling Twitter for sure.
hey, thanks, man. It got me banned on Twitter, actually, which is
Yeah.
funny enough.
Yeah, let's get into that real quick, just because I'm
Okay.
super curious. And this community sees Paul being your white knight going
Yeah,
against
for sure.
Elon in the comments. So yeah, just share us a little bit about that ban on Twitter.
Somebody has to go against Elon right now. Yeah, so I like Sweatpants Jesus with the S was my original handle. And I got to the point where I had almost 3,500 followers. Shout out to my friend Book It at Trent at the Book It community. If you guys know what that is, he runs the surgical stream. Got involved with that. Got a nice chunk of people following along in that regard, and then got my job working for Betting News, which has been life changing and electric. It's been fantastic. And all of a sudden, I hit I don't think it's because of this, but I hit a lotto, which I do quite often in the betting world, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. But I hit a lotto. It's the biggest bet I ever placed. I usually do it for like $5, but I made like almost $2,000 on this play. It was awesome. And I posted it and retweeted it, and FanDuel liked it, and all of a sudden, I got banned. And I mean, my Twitter, I like to keep it really cool with people. I don't think I've ever spoken negatively to anybody on online. I don't really vibe with that type of energy. But so I was really confused, and I was thinking, it's probably just a mistake. 6 months later, I still don't have my Twitter account. If any of you guys have ever been shadow banned on Twitter, which is a thing, it really sucks.
Was that like the next day?
Yeah.
Or like very close, like the next day?
The next day. I don't think
that
it's
is wild
because guys post tickets like that all the time, right? But I think it probably had to do with the Jesus affiliation. But I don't know. They never got back to me. I filed at this point probably 50 appeals to their appeal department. But this was also when Elon had just taken over, and he fired a lot of people in Twitter as he was changing it now to X or whatever the hell you want to call it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, absolute bozo. So I think it was because of that too. Like there was just nobody to answer the emails, and then it just got to the point where I just had to, because that was like my job. Like my job was to write, stuff for Betting News and talk about my plays and post about it online and engage with the community and stuff. And like I lost all of that within a second, And
they just snagged your whole community away without like any appeal, anything.
Nothing.
What a roller coaster of emotions. You just hit your biggest lotto ever. And then within 24 hours, your whole community is just washed on Twitter.
Came crashing down. But
That's
you know
fucked.
what? From that, yeah, it was very fucked. However, from that, throughout my entire life, I've always tried to look at the positive side of things and try to gain as much perspective from experiences, and then move forward and just gain what I can from that. So got to the point where I just was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to have to get a new Twitter and grow a new Twitter, which I did. Now have 1,300 followers, not as much as I did before, but, getting back up there, growing the Betting News brand as well throughout that process, was able to focus on that as well. So, there's always positives to every negative in your life, but it was a shitty experience. However, it is what it is, man. We're talking about social media, so there's no real rules in the wild west of the interwebs,
Yeah, absolutely. That's
I don't
crazy.
know how you did it because I spend like 6 hours on that app a day, and if I was shadow banned, I'd be instant making a new account. Like, time to re-go.
I know. Well, so I guess I held out hope because I'm that type of guy, which is
Right.
I feel that.
sucks ass, but like I was like, they're gonna get back to me. It'll be fine. No worries.
It was just a mistake.
Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, what could I do wrong? And yeah, a couple days went by, and then I got to the point where I was like, all right, I can't. I gotta. Yeah, because like I
Right.
said, it's for pleasure. Sure, I love Twitter. Like I love interacting like that and being able to post especially my sports takes and things like that. But it's part of my job. Like I have to engage and like post my stories and like talk about that stuff as part of what I'm supposed to do. So it got to the point where I was like, all right, I can't just wait around anymore. I got to do something about this.
Yeah, if you're writing, you have to, get the attraction to your article or whatever it is. And how are you going to do that without social media?
Right.
Yeah,
You just hope
exactly.
they go there, So that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a nutty experience. But again, it's been almost 6 months now. Moved on. Maybe one day they'll email me back and I'll just laugh at it. But I don't expect it. So, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I moved on. I'm waiting. It's so funny. I've joked to some of my friends that they're just going to ban my new account. So I really try to be careful about the Jesus comments that I make on there. Not really a very religious person myself, but I don't want to put down Jesus's name by the fact that I'm talking about sports betting because of my handle.
There's far worse
I
things
feel
on
you.
Twitter, brother.
That's what I'm saying,
You shouldn't even be on the scope or radar compared to what's going down on that app.
Hey man, gambling Twitter is a cesspool of toxicity. I have to say.
The whole app is, bro. It's not gambling Twitter for sure, but that whole app is wild.
So one of the things that so I took over as the head of content for Betting News about it's been about 3 months now that I've kind of been in charge of what we produce on the site, written work, but also multimedia. So all the shows that we do, our stream, like you mentioned, Afternoon Espresso that we do Monday through Fridays on Twitch. Everything that we try to do and the entire goal of everything that I try to tell myself when I'm doing things, but also the writers that we have and everybody involved is like positive vibes, positive energy, because this space can just get so, especially when you're talking about people's money and like betting, right? It can get so convoluted and complicated and just it can turn really sour really fast. So keeping everything really entertaining, engaging, but also positive is like the most important message that we try to do everything at Betting News, myself included, obviously, which goes against 90% of what people talk about online with the betting space. I mean, you guys know that. Like, it's very anti. We're not trying to be contrarian with that method, but it's more about just trying to, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, all we like to do is talk sports and throw some money on it, right? Like, that's why we're here. That's why we're having a good time. That's why we're going to talk about some football today. Let's go. But like, I just never understood the whole toxicity behind that entire realm. And I try to stay far away from it as possible.
For sure. I think a lot of it is when people lose and they see other people winning, that does not bode well for many. And then you're behind the keyboard, you just a username, no profile picture. I mean, you can say whatever you want. So most of the time it comes from people that are on aliases and stuff like that, where you have no idea who this person is and they're just living this salty lifestyle. You see you doing good, the people around you doing good, and it's just like personal attack. It's almost like their relief for the days to shit on other people.
People use Twitter and social media like this as therapy a lot of ways. And like you said,
for sure.
When you associate winning or losing money with those types of feelings, bad things can happen. Everything that I do, like I try to be as transparent as possible because I have to write about plays a lot. So like, I don't track my plays necessarily on a separate app. I tried doing that. It's just really complicated and I didn't like doing it. But like everything that I write about, I bet. So like you can just go on the site and see what I bet. But like I always recap. Like I always say like, hey, yesterday I was 0 for 3, like I was a bozo, but today is going to be better. So let's see what happens today. Like if anybody ever tells you they hit all their bets, they lying.
They are lying.
100% lying.
They're lying, and there's a lot of liars out there. Don't worry about that.
It's like 75% liars. If you're telling your community you're hitting at a 70% clip, you're lying. I'll just tell you now, you're lying. Even if somehow you have it on data, you manipulated the data. Trust me.
Oh, 100%.
We've been around long enough that 52 to 58% for a whole year is where you make money. Like that is the cash cow. You're not consistently hitting 60-70%, even if you did it 1 year out of 10 somehow. But that's not something consistent and something you want to buy into hoping it turns year over year. So there's a lot of weird business, schemy, slimy little people trying to make themselves and their pages look good just to try to get like a quick like 1 month profit, because in your head you're not hitting at that clip, and inevitably you're gonna get caught. But it's just like
Right.
this little quick, they're trying to make money quick, they like the hype, they like the clout, whatever it is, and then they just try to run with it thinking they're just like a one-off genius, that the first person to ever do it, you know.
And then they're like, "Oh, I'm going 70%. Let me throw out this promo. If you sign up for my premium package, for 1 whole year, you get a discount off." Like, come on, you're just funding your bets. Let's go.
That's that bozo package right there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum with a lot of guys about VIP picks and stuff like that. Because when I first got into betting, and then realized that I like doing it, and I was doing it a little bit more like full time, I'd say. I signed up for VIP service. I split it with a couple of my buddies. This was like the beginning of my gambling like life. So I've learned a lot since then. But I think it's a valuable way to do it, because there's only one way to know how something makes you feel, right? And that's usually to try it out, within a caveat, obviously.
Right.
But I hated it, because I signed up for it. We got the plays every day and stuff like that. And like, I just got to the point where like you realize that to profit long-term gambling, you have to just not look at short-term gains, and just look at it from like, this is a year investment. This is how many units I have. I'm going to gain this many units over the year if I stick to this plan and don't get weird and start throwing random amounts of money on parlays and stuff. Like, I'm going to probably make a profit. And that's how like really like the good profitable VIP gamblers that like actually run reliable services, that's what they do. And like you said, they hit it probably like a 55 to 57% rate. And like, if you're betting $100 units, you're going to make a decent amount of money over a year's time, right? But like, so many people say that they do that shit, and I guarantee that 90% of them do not.
Yeah, it's super saturated. I think you could just hashtag gambling Twitter and just go look at accounts at the end of the day, and you can just it's a cesspool of these types of people. And they're just trying to get a few people, their gimmick. They're selling snake oil and shit, 100%. It's just fraudulent.
You'll find me on 5 or 6 of them.
Commenting random things. That's the other thing too, is like I got a lot of buddies on Twitter that I let people can talk about whatever they want to talk about online. Like, that's the beauty of free speech and like what we get to do. Like you were talking about earlier with keyboard warriors, the ones that just hide behind their Twitter handles and just shit on people, and that's kind of their life goal. I got some buddies that like to engage with those people. I just try to stay far away from that shit. I don't even respond. I luckily don't get much of that in my like dealings for the most part, but every once in a while somebody comes along, and I usually just either don't respond or just say have a nice day or something like that. Because
I'll tell you now,
they want you to engage. That's what they want.
Oh yeah, they want that fire. They want you to get pissed off, dude. That's the only thing that's their end goal. 100%. See you get triggered.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me tell you, if anyone's in your comments, don't worry about it. Your community will handle them. You're like one of the nicest people in the community. Everyone knows you for being nice. So if anyone's talking shit, I am 100% sure your followers and this community, will take care of that. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I will say my fiance makes fun of me all the time. I am a nice guy. I am, but I can be an asshole too. Like, I can definitely, I can talk back to somebody if I need to, but I mean, it's amazing. Like, what's the community that I have involved myself with on Twitter, you guys included, through Betspresso, guys that come in the chat every day. Me, Shaggy, and NZ, like, we run a really inclusive environment, which, like I said, all we want to do is talk about sports and throw some money on it, right? And like, that doesn't have an inclusion like rule. Like, I don't care if you throw $1 on something. I don't care if you throw 50 cents on it. I don't even care if you don't bet on it. If you want to come and hang out, you want to talk some sports, you want to vibe with us and listen to us. We play games. Like, it's about just having a good time, enjoying your life. And I think that more people, if they treated their work and their environment that way, would feel better about that. Like everything.
Yeah.
They do,
Amen.
For sure. I think there's like two types of people in this hobby, or I call it a hobby, but
Yeah,
you're either doing it for
It's
the
a
hobby and you
Yeah.
enjoy it, or you're like stressing yourself out trying to make money off of your lack of funds. Like you're trying to make money. You know, I can promise you that's not going to happen, especially if you haven't been doing this a long time, which is a lot of the community. You know, every year there's new 18-year-old dudes more than likely signing up, getting scammed. That's where these like weird accounts on Twitter, they can do it because it's year over year that there's going to be new people signing up and are going to be noobs of gambling. So
yeah, I mean, especially because sports betting is so infant in a lot of ways in the U.S. market. I mean, only less than half of the United States has regulated sports betting. Obviously, unregulated sports betting is all over the place, but it's so untapped in so many different ways. And you got these guys, like you said, that are in statistics class when they're 19 in college, thinking, "Oh, I can just throw $1,000 on this parlay and like make my tuition. Let's go, why not?" Without knowing what they're actually doing. I mean, I've actually gone through, I think every bettor, and if people say they haven't, then they're fucking lying. But like I've gone through unit changes, I've gone through slumps, I've gone through good experiences, bad experiences.
absolutely.
Like I had a certain unit size that I felt good about, and then I got to the point where I was like stressing about my bets, and I was like, I don't want to bet like this. I'm gonna just lower my units, bring it down, get to a comfortable level. Felt good about it because at the end of the day, guys, if you throw money on something, just go ahead and say see it later. It's not coming back to you. Sometimes it does, but as soon as you press that button, it's gone. And a lot of people forget that because they think they're either following somebody that's hitting at 70% or that parlay, or that the amount of times I'll put money on. I'll talk about baseball, but like the amount of times I put money on a fucking hitter that's been red hot and dude goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, like guaranteed every single time. There is no
it's the way she goes. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
It's the way the cookie crumbles, man. There is no guarantees in this industry. If anybody tells you otherwise, again, they lying.
Yeah, and you just got to know that going into it. If you have this false sense of hope, then you're going to be one of the people in the comments pissed off at other people winning.
I think that's the important thing too, is our responsibility as people that have a microphone to talk to people that are either getting involved in this or doing it a lot, is to remind them that it's okay to self-assess. It's okay to like change your strategies. It's okay to not bet for a couple days. Go outside and touch a tree and like, walk around and do some other stuff. Like it's okay. Sports are still going to be there. And like, especially these newbies, like you said, the gambling Twitter noobs or people that are just getting involved in this industry. Like I remember what it was like to be there. I didn't know jack shit. I knew a lot about sports, which is why everybody usually gets into gambling, sports betting specifically. Like I love sports. I was like, oh, I can make money on this. That's great. I was so like, I look back at some of the decisions some of the parlays I play, some of those SGPs. I was like, oh God, what was I doing?
Dude, I think everyone does that. Like you said, if you say you didn't do that, you are lying, or you are a fresh noob and you're going through it and don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
But I think everyone that has been in that situation has come full circle.
Sure.
And now you can step back and reevaluate your plan going forward, gambling wise,
I think that's the biggest thing that I try to talk about and like use my platform, especially like what I said, what we do with betting news. And like, that's what we do as a community, guys. It's like teaching people, like I don't know everything about this shit. I learn something new every day, but like, I know more than I did a year ago. And like somebody might just be getting into it and they need to know this information in a safe space where they don't feel like they're going to get laughed at for asking, what's an over under, or like, what is betting a player prop? Like those things are important things you need to know, and you learn how to do it and you get better and better.
For sure. Do you have any like say on like PrizePicks and some of the sketchy DFS? I know there's some people kind of going hard in that area, saying like, unregulated, whatever they may say about it. What do you have any thoughts about that?
So not specifically. I played on all of them. I just try to be really careful wherever I put my money in anything anyway. I've had a couple of run-ins with PrizePicks that have gone not the way that I wanted to, and then I've had some run-ins that have gone very well with them and their chat. So I don't know. I mean, it's I've had guys, lots of people that I respect in this community have to go at bat with them many, many times. And I've seen a couple of them that have like either disappeared or like just fallen off the face of the earth and things like that. That's why it's important just to realize that like, just research where you're putting your money. feel good about it. Like we on at Betting News, like we actually have a list of, reputable sports books that you guys can go check out that it's reliable, right? Like it's, at least where your money's going and you're going to get it back. Some of these other places, I mean, I think PrizePicks is a pretty legitimate, even though they do sometimes some shady shit with their rules. Like I've never had money disappear, for example.
For sure. But, I think a lot of it is like them, like most sports book, when you start winning, you're going to start getting like an allowance or like a daily limit or like a max bet and stuff like that.
What is that? I've never been there.
I have never been there. I'm not that good, bro. Yeah, I wish if I got that message, it would be pinned on my Twitter because that means you made it.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I wasn't Go ahead.
No. Go.
I was in a Discord past basketball season. We do like same game parlays for 7 legs for plus 100, whatever. This kid was hitting like high 60%, $300 a same game parlay, and he's in Canada, so Bet365 limited him to $5.
Wow.
He had to go to his girlfriend's account to start placing bets.
That's a DJ, baby.
Yep.
That is.
Hey, you'll make it work.
You haven't signed up your significant other to get the bonuses, will you actually?
Right, what are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
But that was the first time I ever heard of that. I was like, what? They actually limit how much you can bet? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of sports books do that, and it's really like the higher echelon of cappers that are putting out lots of money, like one pick a day. They're like, all right, a little too much. Like, we're going to limit this because you're not even doing anything risky. You're not doing parlays. You're not doing anything like that. You're just like slamming us every day. So that happens a lot in FanDuel and DraftKings. This week and last week is the first time I've seen it on PrizePicks. That's kind of why I was curious about that because I never seen it before.
I didn't know that they were limiting people. I had not seen that. I've seen other people talk about, like I said, some rule fumbling or those
people are always pissed about like people getting taken out of the game in the first quarter. Like there was a lot of that shit going on last year that was weird, but nothing like illegal, nothing like crazy. But I just brought that up because I seen it the last 2 weeks, and I've never seen PrizePicks limit, so I was just a little curious on that.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that either. I'll have to look at that. But I did have a couple buddies that I know pretty well that had dealt with them, like I said, fudging some rules. But
yeah, for sure.
Different story, I guess.
Side note: have you had a beard since 3rd grade?
Yeah, no, I have not. It's funny though. A lot of people say like, "Hey, man, nice beard," and my usual response is, "Yeah, I grew it myself."
Attaboy.
Yeah, for sure. I actually started growing. I've always been able to grow like a beard per se for the last 8 or 9 years. But I'm 31, so as COVID started, basically, I kind of just let my beard go, like a lot of people did at that point. And then my fiance, my current fiance, not my fiance at the time, my fiance was just like, I don't know if I'd ever be okay with you shaving your beard. Like you look like this now to me. And I shaved it last November not for November necessarily, but I just wanted to have a mustache just to change it up for a little bit. I swear to God, she almost left me. Like it was not really, but she it was, I looked different. It was weird. So I'm sure I'll shave it at some point. I'm sure that I'll have different looks and things like that. But it's, people, like you said, people know me as SPG. It would be weird if I cut my hair and shave my beard. Like people would recognize me. So, which I do have. There are photos of me that exist with short hair and no beard.
I think the short hair is one thing, but the no beard would probably send me.
Because you guys would be buddies.
Because I think I do remember when you shaved it last year.
Yeah.
And just kind of like the talk about it, you're just like, I can't wait to grow it back because everyone's looking at me different. My wife is, yada yada.
It's weird. It's a weird sensation. But yeah, there are lots of photos from my multiple past lives of short hair, no beard that exist. So it's probably can't imagine, but it exists.
When I even trim mine, my girlfriend gets mad. She's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
sorry.
For sure. You got to. You got to exfoliate that skin underneath sometimes.
Absolutely.
I have you seen that baby? The meme of the baby that sees the dad before the.
Oh yeah. From
years
ago.
Yeah, they see the dad, and the baby you know, like
Right.
His
surprise.
bald face. Yeah, he had
Yeah.
like your beard, and then it was just a bald
Nothing.
face. Like he was like, "Who is
Who the hell
that?"
are you?
Yeah, that's kind of how I would envision everybody looking at me if I clean shaved and didn't tell anyone.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll into the AFC South.
Beauty.
You are the only person I know that is a diehard Tennessee fan, so I'm extremely
go.
excited for your perspective
Let's
today
go.
with the AFC South. How excited are you for this year's team compared to pre-D Hop? Like how excited you are now than before?
Well, way more excited, obviously. I mean, I was saying to you guys before we got started, like I have to be a very straight with a lot of like the things I'm writing about. Like all the picks I write about aren't like, you know, the Titans are going to win everything, you know, but
Yeah, for sure.
my Homer fandom, obviously, like I like to view it a little bit more positively. So I expected them to be a lot better this season than a lot of other people. Now that they have D-Hop, I am very on the Titans this year. I was saying to you guys before, I placed my first NFL wager this season on the Titans to win the AFC South. Plus 400 is what I got it at. This was before they got D-Hop. A couple days before that, number moved down. Not super a lot. It's like plus 350, plus 300, depending on your book. I'm big in on the Titans this year, man. I really think that they have a chance. I think the thing about the Titans is nobody gives a shit about them because they're a small market team, right? Like no one cares. Which you guys probably get that with your Lions as well.
Hey, watch
guys,
it, buddy.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But you know, I mean, you guys have a little more history than we do, obviously. But there's
Of losing.
Yeah, we had some bad years too, brother. Don't worry. No, but there's you got these small market teams, and you know, everyone kind of only reads like headlines from ESPN or these other big things, and they don't really know what the fuck's going on with these teams. So they just kind of make their own decisions and their own narratives. Whereas, like, you know, I follow this team religiously every single day. I know, you know, most of the starters. I know who's going to be playing and all these types of things, follow the numbers and things like that. And, like, I don't know why the Jaguars are minus 165 to win this division. Like, I think that it is they're way overvalued this year. I watched this team religiously for the past 15 years of my life as a normal, regular football fan. Just because they had a good 6-month stretch over the end of last season and went to the AFC divisional game, everyone's just jumping to be a big Jags fan. It's pretty crazy to me. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for Trevor Lawrence to regress this year. This is like I'm getting into hot takes now. I'm just gonna.
No,
I'm here for it, baby.
I'm just gonna keep going.
I love it.
I'm here for it.
This has got a little bit of Tennessee Titans homerisms baked into it, but there's background here. Like I was on the fence about Trevor Lawrence last year. Then I obviously watched him blossom, you could say, into a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, which is everybody deemed him as now. I don't buy it yet. I want to see it more. We are so quick to give these guys the fucking keys and everything before they've even done it for more than one season. I was saying to you guys before, Ryan Tannehill has actually been the 4th best statistical quarterback since taking over for the Tennessee Titans as a starting quarterback in 2019. He has a 100.7 quarterback rating, which is 4th best in the NFL in that stretch. That's better than Trevor Lawrence. That's better than Anthony Richardson. That's better than CJ Stroud. I know they haven't played a game yet, but
right.
I mean, people forget that this guy, just because he had one bad big game in the Bengals against the Bengals in the playoffs 2 seasons ago, just thinks that he's a piece of shit quarterback. And like, I don't know why. I'd rather ride with Tannehill, one of the 5 best running backs. I mean, I think he's the best, but that's, again, homerisms. Give me Derrick Henry, give me D-Hop, give me Tannehill, and give me Mike Vrabel. I'd much rather run with Mike Vrabel over Doug Peterson all day long and twice on Sundays. So I think plus 400 is great value for them to win this division. They won it 3 years previously before last season. When they shit, I mean, and people also forget that the Titans were 7-3 last year, and then they decided to lose their last 7 games of the season. They shit the bed completely, mostly because Tannehill was hurt. He got hurt mid-season, didn't play 3 games. Malik Willis had to come in, doesn't even know how to throw the ball 10 feet, and like we couldn't win a game. And then it kind of just spiraled out of control out of there as well. But this is a funny division, man. Like people kind of always shit on it as kind of like the toilet bowl of the entire NFL, just because of the different teams that are in it. But it's obviously my passion, and because of the Titans. But I can't. I'm excited to see the Jags be competitive again. That's great for the division, obviously. great for football. I'm really interested to see how Calvin Ridley fits in with this team. Because people forget he was amazing in Atlanta before he got
Stud.
Yeah, stud. Before he got banned last year for pressing the buttons like we do.
Yep.
Degen, tisk
Yeah,
tisk.
you can take the degen out the degen, but you can't take the degen out the NFL.
Right.
I'll be interested to see how he fits in to this already pretty explosive offense. I'm not here to say the Jags suck. Like, I think they're going to, but I think people are overvalued.
So the Titans are at 7.5 right now
Yeah.
at minus 125. Do you think that's just a smash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Long story short, yes. I haven't placed any futures except for them to win the division yet. We actually, there's another account that I follow called Music City. I think it's Music City Bets. They do a similar type of thing, but they're in Nashville, obviously. And they were talking about it too. That's a disrespectful number to me, honestly. 7.5.
That's crazy. The Jags are at 9.5, and you're only going to give the Titans 7.5.
I mean, it's because it might change between now and the season, honestly, depending upon what happens in training camp and everything else with D-Hop. And if there are no major injuries between now and the start of the season, I think you should play it now if you like it, because I think that number could move. I think it could get maybe to an unplayable number. Minus 125, still pretty good value there. Again, it's hard for me to talk about my team and not sound homer, but like Mike Vrabel hasn't had a losing season as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans until last year, when they literally lost 7 games in a row to finish the season.
Yeah, that's a one-off.
I don't think that's going to happen again. They got a new general manager, Ran Carthon, who knows his shit, man. Came over from San Francisco. He's business. They got one of the best wide receivers in the game. I don't care if he's 32. I was saying to you guys before, D-Hop, the last time. So this season, the Titans got a new offensive coordinator. Last year they had he's so bad I can't even remember his name. Todd Downing. There it is. I tried to block it out because I hated him so bad. Anyway, they got rid of Todd Downing, and they have Tim Kelly now, who was the offensive coordinator for the Texans in 2019 when D-Hop had 104 catches that season. Obviously, Deshaun Watson throwing in the football helps, but he had 104 catches. Same offensive coordinator. Also, Mike Vrabel was a coach at the Texans as well. I think that we're going to see as long as D-Hop stays healthy, right? Which he didn't play a lot last year. Maybe he's got some, had a chance to refresh a little bit. And it's always nice when you see the guy you sign come into your team and look pissed off. He looks like
absolutely.
He's trying to he wants to go out there and prove everybody wrong. And I want an all-pro player coming into your locker room saying, this is how we're going to do it, boys.
Yeah, I feel disrespected. This is my redeem year. Let's run it the fuck up.
Right.
Yeah.
I do know that the Titans do have like a tough out-of-conference schedule this year. Mm-hmm. You want to go over that, Don?
I mean, the South got lucky this year. They drew each other, like the two South divisions. So, like they're gonna get to play Carolina, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and New Orleans. So
that's beautiful.
Right. But the other teams that they have to play are a little tough. So they drew the AFC North. And a couple of these teams play like all 4 AFC North teams back to back to back to back. Like that's good. That's tough football, right?
Yeah.
Going off of what you were saying though, Tennessee Titans, I agree with you. Derrick Henry, top 5 running back in the league, arguably the best if you want to look at strictly the running back position. Tannehill, sneaky athleticism. Hopefully has a little spark under the butt because of the competition that they've drafted the last. And then Mike Vrabel, you nailed the nail on the head there. There is better coaches, but as far as building a defense that's going to stop someone, which is what you need to do in the NFL if you're going to be successful, nothing better than Mike Vrabel.
Just real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, and I watched the interview with D-Hop when he got brought into the Titans. And one of the reasons why D-Hop said he joined, besides all the I love the culture, this great place is great.
The bullshit.
They paid me money,
Yeah.
Right. He said that Mike Vrabel always left an impression on him from when he was his coach, even though he was a defensive coach in Houston. Mike Vrabel texted D-Hop when he went to Arizona. One of the first coaches to text him. Wasn't even his coach anymore. And when he was in Arizona, he had a bad game. He like dropped the ball or something. And Vrabel texted him and said, "Why'd you drop the ball, man?" And D-Hop remembered that, and he liked that because he was like, he always wanted to keep coaching me and keep caring about my life. And that is one of the other reasons why Vrabel is a great coach, not just the X's and O's, which obviously he's great at, but also the relationship with the players.
Yeah, he's a player's coach. That goes a long way, especially in the NFL, because there's not many of those.
No.
Right, and that's kind of what we talked about last episode on why would D-Hop go to Tennessee when he listed his things, and Tennessee really didn't match that. But Vrabel's got to be the biggest one,
100%.
You go there for the coach and the culture. As far as to win the division, the Jags are at minus 155, the Titans plus 350, Colts plus 600, Texans plus 800.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I don't get how the Colts and the Texans are under plus 1,000 with
Same.
the new quarterback, terrible team last year. It just doesn't make sense to me. Riley, who are you picking to win this?
The division, I like the Titans this year. I'm kind of with SP. Yeah, I'm with you on that because I just don't think the Jags are going to perform as well as, that last 7-week stretch that they had. And they just had too much momentum going into this offseason where, like, it's very hard to live up to that, especially early on. And then you have to go perfect without injuries. And then you have the Tennessee Titans in the same division that are going to ground and pound you. So I don't think the Jags are as good as everyone thinks. I think T-Law is a great quarterback and that he is going to make the leap, but I don't think everything's going to come together like it's anticipated to be. So yeah, I like the Titans.
You made a good point. Also, let's go.
Let's go, baby. I'm on your side.
Talk about this before. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Right now, so my predictions, I have the Jags and the Titans tying at 9-8.
Let's go.
So both of them going 5-1 in the division. They beat Texans and Colts twice and split home games. I don't know. It's just tough to say. Trevor Lawrence, I believe in him personally. He was the best quarterback in high school, best quarterback in college. Why wouldn't he continue to be the best quarterback in the NFL, right? Then you look at the talent that he has around him. He adds Calvin Ridley to the offense this year. There was a video today that came out of Zay Flowers running a route and then Calvin coming right behind him and running a route. And it's like, holy shit,
Speed.
Calvin Ridley looks dangerous. So,
Speed.
It's a crapshoot. They obviously won a playoff game in historical fashion last year. Their defense should continue to get better, but the Titans are going to be tough. You're not going to just walk in and beat them. And it's going to come down to, okay, who can take the games, I guess I should say, against the AFC North. Like the Jaguars drew Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, and then the AFC North for their
Good God.
non-divisional opponents other than that NFC South. No, that's tough right there. Like
people forget that when you win your division, the next season is going to be tough because you got all the division winners the next season, right? Like that's how you draw the schedule. Like it's tough.
Yeah, that's wild. That's exciting though.
Right, and then the Titans go week 2 Chargers, week 3 at Cleveland, week 4 Bengals, week 6 Ravens, week 9 Pittsburgh. Like those are a tough stretch of games. Obviously not back-to-back weeks, but you're gonna play hard-nosed offense, hard-nosed defense, and I'm a believer personally in the Browns this year. I don't think Deshaun Watson can be as bad as he was last year again with a whole year under his belt. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to in the 50-50 games or in the games you're not favored to win, who's going to pull it out. So right now I have them tied, and then it'll come down to some tiebreaker.
Wow, what a wussy call. Making the tie. You couldn't even say one was going to win. That's
all right. I'll take the Jags just to be different. How about that?
That's fine. No, I mean, if you think that's the case, you should just bet the Titans over 7.5 then. Because
agreed. And that's the bet I would go for sure.
I think that's criminal.
I do too. I mean, I'm not smarter than Vegas. Nobody is, but like,
right,
that line feels wrong to me. But we're gonna find out what happens. I wrote a piece about the AFC South for like a betting preview for Betting News. You guys can go check it out at bettingnews.com if you want. I went into all the details about each team. The Texans and the Colts sections weren't very long.
Right.
Yeah, same.
I talked about some of obviously their big draft picks, like the Colts. They got Richardson, which could be very exciting for that franchise. They still got Jonathan Taylor. Like, they're not dead in the water, right? But it's going to be a tough slug for them, I think. And then you got the Texans. They got C.J. Stroud. Fantastic. Cool. It's probably going to take some time. They also got a new head coach. It's just both of those teams, kind of like you said, Dunny, like, I don't know. I don't see a world where they get anywhere close to winning this division. If you want to get real crazy and just like out of fandom, if you're a Texans fan, like plus 900 is probably nice value just to sprinkle on. But I don't see it happening.
I think they're both right now sitting at 6.5. I don't honestly see either of them winning 7 games.
I don't either.
I mean,
I personally hate betting unders, but that would be a good.
Me too, for sure. This division's so weird though. Like, I'm looking at the whole division, it's fucking weird. Like, the Jags need 10 wins, the Titans only need 8, and then the Colts and the Texans are both at 6.5. Like, it's just super weird overs for their wins and stuff.
Well, it's like I was saying. I think that's the national media's disrespect for this division. Like, people just don't really think this is a very good division, which, I mean, statistically it's not. But it's a different style of football. It's also not a sexy division. We don't have Patrick Mahomes. We got Derrick Henry, which is cool, but we got T-Law now. And I mean, I was kind of shitting on T-Law earlier, and you guys both I think he's a great quarterback. Like, I do think that he has the goods. I guess my point is that I want to see it. I saw it for 7 games last year. I want to see it for a full season before we claim that he's in the same ilk as Burrow, Mahomes. We had the same conversation 2 years ago about Burrow. He had a great run into the playoffs and everything like that. And then the question was, but can he do it next year? And oh boy,
do you think
he did it next year?
Do you think Herbert's in that regard right now? Because no playoff wins. He hasn't did anything in the playoffs, but he's got that Herbert-esque name where everyone just kind of lets it slide. Like, we know you're fucking good. You're kind of getting unlucky. Do you think he's in that same category, or Herbert, he's got to prove to be a Herbert without doing anything? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The Chargers think so. They just paid him. So
yeah, for sure.
They really do. I like Justin Herbert. I think he's a really good quarterback. I've watched a bunch of his games, and the guy can sling the rock. I mean, obviously, the thing about it is, like, these quarterbacks get judged by the big moments, right? Like, the playoff wins. Like, Tom Brady's obviously the greatest of all time because of how many Super Bowls he won, right? But if you look at all the wins that he's had, I would say about 80% of them probably came from a defensive play, or a wide receiver helping him out, or a running back run, or it's a team sport. Like, you can't always break it down to these quarterbacks making like every single play possible. Sometimes they just get unlucky. But for me, I like Justin Herbert. I think he's top.
I do too. I just think without him like winning a playoff game and then thinking T-Law still has to prove himself after winning a playoff game, it hurts, because that's just like the mind. Like, we're just watching what we see and we're calling it how it is without stats. So, like, it's both sides of the coin. It sucks for T-Law, especially because he's on the Jags and winning a playoff game compared to the Chargers, who have had a plethora of talent forever without being able to do shit. I just, when you were talking about it, he just popped in my head. I was like, Herbert's right there. He's like the same situation,
Sure. All right, so here's a question for you guys. If you had to take out Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, and Josh Allen, those would be my top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Who would be your number 4?
Number 4. I mean, off the top of my head, I would like to say Patty, or I would like to say Herbert.
Okay.
But like I said, like, he's always been in the back of my mind of just not even being in a playoff game, like not winning a playoff game or doing anything important for me to be like, all right, he's good with the stress situations. But if it's my team, I'm starting, and I got all the quarterbacks to pick, I'm taking him or Aaron Rodgers. For sure. Aaron Rodgers has he knows what he's doing out there. He's been there, he's done that. But like, to build like a dynasty or like longevity wise, I'd probably go with Herbert.
What about you, Danny?
I mean, I like the 2 guys Riley picked. I think Rodgers is a little old, and truthfully, like, Herbert one more year, and like, okay, at what point do you say it's not just the team is getting unlucky? Like, you got to perform a little better. But the two guys that I also thought of, Lamar Jackson, if you're going to build a team and have a dynamic offense, he's just got to stay healthy, right? It's obvious that he can run the ball and he can throw the ball a little bit. And then you also think Deshaun Watson, I think he's just a special talent. And obviously he played terrible last year, but I don't think it can happen. He also had, 11-game suspension or something like that. So being away from the game that long hurts.
Yeah. Oh, rust is real, man, especially in these situations. All the coaches.
Yeah, I don't know about Deshaun down there, but we'll let it slide.
Hey,
Danny.
go ahead. That's fine. We'll watch and we'll see.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you were talking about how everyone thinks Tannehill is kind of like that mid tier or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think he and Jared Goff kind of have the same game, or do you think Tannehill is just like at least a notch above him? Because when you were talking about your favorite team's quarterback, I'm thinking of my favorite team's quarterback. I'm like, this is the same conversation.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of people around him for him to succeed. That's why Goff did so well and at the Rams and stuff. But it's hard to like gauge how good they are based off of the talent around them, you know?
I mean, you guys had a great offense last year. I mean, Goff was
for sure
all over the place. I think me personally, and I mean, it's hard to not sound Homer again. I would take Tannehill in this situation solely because of athleticism. Tannehill is obviously played wide receiver in college at Texas A&M before he got converted to a quarterback. If you guys watch him run the ball, he runs the ball like a football player, not a quarterback who's just trying to run for his life.
For sure.
And that's a huge part of not only the current NFL and also the future NFL, but also what the Titans do. Our offensive line is not very good, has not been very good the last 18 months, and he has to run around a lot. And so you need a guy that can get you that 10 yards, get you that 15, maybe even 20, 25, or 30. And Goff can't do that. I mean, he can maybe scramble for 5, but I mean,
hey, I respect it. I have no sentimental value towards Jared Goff whatsoever. If we had a better option at quarterback, bring him on up. But it was just a comparison. I think he just doesn't turn the ball over, and that's what we needed, and that's what he did. But he didn't do anything special.
I'll give you another hot take real quick that I would take Tannehill and Goff over Kirk Cousins.
No shit.
Yeah,
I don't love that because I don't like Kirk Cousins. Okay. He's a Sparty. I'm a Michigan guy. I've just always not liked him. I don't think he's very special at all. You got to have, a Delvin Cook-esque running back and then one of the better wide receivers in the entire league, and then you still, can't do great in the playoffs. So I think he's on year like 12 now, right? 10, 11, 12. He's getting up there. So he's only got like a year or two to actually do something with this roster.
I think he gets a bad rap. I don't think he's as bad as people say he is. Like, he's a good quarterback, right?
For sure. There's a reason he's been, in the league for so long.
Sure. But look at what Justin Jefferson said in the offseason. One of the best wide receiver in football, right? For sure. Didn't even put his own quarterback, who has put him in the position that he is in right now, in his top 5 quarterbacks list.
Yeah, but how could you with the quarterbacks that are in the league? It'd be hard for me to stick Kirk Bangs up there too. I swear.
I mean, he's your teammate, dude. Like, how would you feel if you're throwing him the fucking ball and like he doesn't even say your name or even mention it?
It's like, do you want me to be honest or do you want me to put you on there and lie, Kirk? We're all grown here. If
he texted him and he was like, "Sorry, bro."
if you ask Kirk his top 5 quarterbacks, I doubt he's putting himself in there. Like, he knows.
Yeah, he did.
At the end of the day. But yeah, it is kind of weird seeing a wide receiver kind of out as quarterback on TV.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I thought it was just really interesting. I thought Kirk's response to it was good. I think that's kind of had the best way to do it. But yeah, I don't know. I think also the thing about Goff and Tannehill in comparison to Cousins is they both have, I think, better arm talent in total. In comparison, I think Goff has never had. I mean, he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown now, but he's never had a Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to. So you got to look at that as well. Who's around you, like we were talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Who would you take at number 4 quarterback?
Yeah. Let's spin this back.
I'm sorry. I came on here and I'm asking you guys questions.
No, you're good. It's like Ryan Tannehill.
Right now. All respect, Ryan, dude. Be awesome this year. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I'm going to take Justin Fields. Now,
No shit.
This is about, I think that we're going to see a big leap from Justin Fields this year as a quarterback. We obviously saw what he could do last year as a runner. Like, amazing. I have a buddy named Chef T in the community, shout out Chef, who literally just comes on our show and says, I got a bet for you guys. It's a hammer. Justin Fields rushing yards.
Yeah, dude, that worked last year.
I wrote it every week last year.
Every week, dude. It was a hammer. But yeah, I think he takes the next step. Because we were talking about it a little bit earlier, the quarterback position, especially in the NFL, takes these guys a season, maybe two, to really start to digest it all, get it all kind of look without. Like last year, it finally started to look like it was clicking. Just because these guys have insane talent, like they're at their levels and they're in these positions because of where they like talent they have, but it takes time to get it to the point where it's manifesting every single week. I think we see that for the Bears this year. I think Justin Fields, the sky's the limit. I think he's got better arm. I think he's better athletically than Lamar, and I think he's got a better arm than Lamar. And I think that we might see that begin to show itself a little bit more this season.
Okay.
It might not happen. It's more of a gut feel. But my dad's a Bears fan, so I watched a lot of Bears games last year, and I don't know, man. I think he's got a chance to.
I'm high on him too. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's gonna be like a top 3-5 quarterback next year, but I'm really high on his like trajectory in the next like 5 years, like just being better. I think he'll be it's kind of a no-brainer, but I think he will be more sustainable than like Jordan Love and these other quarterbacks that are in the NFC, even maybe Purdy. Like he's gonna be one of those type players. So I don't know. I hope that the Chicago Bears aren't amazing this year, but I definitely am a believer in Justin Fields soon.
I was just say he can ball out as long as it's not versus the Lions. We're good to go.
Yeah, stat pad against Minnesota, please.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna. If I have the chance to, I'm definitely gonna draft him. That's for sure.
Oh, fantasy football wise, definitely.
Hey, he'll 100%. He'll sneak pretty low down there, depending on who you're actually in a draft with. But I don't think he's gonna be a quick snag. You might get him extremely late in your draft and be happy.
Somebody's probably gonna take him early and I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, there's gonna be some idiot that loses. He's like one of the worst in the league, but he just takes your favorite pick off rip.
Yep, there's always that guy. There's always
Classic.
That guy.
For sure.
So, talking about the Titans, what is like your number one moment being a Titans fan, and then what's like the biggest heartbreak you've had being a Titans fan?
Oh God, how long do we have? I think that my best moment, and again, I'm 31, so I've seen them be atrocious. I remember the Music City Miracle, but I was a kid, so it's not as like in my soul as a lot of other Titans fans. For me, it's probably when the Titans went to the AFC Championship game in 2019-2020 season, beating the Patriots, beating those Ravens who were amazing that season, and then almost beating the Chiefs in the AFC champ game in Arrowhead that year. That was probably my favorite watching of my team throughout my entire time of being a fan. I loved them that season. Their offense was amazing. It was amazing watching the Tennessee Titans be top 5 statistically in like every offensive category I think that's ever happened in Titans history.
Right.
So that was probably my highlight for sure. I'll never forget Patrick Mahomes running in that AFC Championship game at the end of the first half and scoring that touchdown and thinking to myself, yeah, we just lost this game. Fuck. But that whole run was pretty electric. I bet on them too every game, and they were heavy underdogs against the Pats and against the Ravens. I cashed nicely on both of them. I had a ticket for them to go to the bowl too, which almost cashed too, which would have been dope. But I think, what was the other question? So that was the best moment. It's like heartbreak moment.
Yeah, like your worst moment, maybe like you're just like tired of the Titans.
It's probably twofold. So when they lost to the Bengals in the divisional round 2 seasons ago, it was really tough. That game was hard, really hard. Mostly because I feel really like emotionally connected to these dudes, even though I don't fucking know any of them. I feel bad for them when they don't play well. I feel bad for them when they put up bad performances in big moments, because then you like all these fans come out of the doors and say like, you guys suck, you're terrible. It's like, dude, like they lost the fucking game. Like let them feel their feels, you know? But I think that plus I have a weird love of Marcus Mariota from when he was the quarterback of the Titans. I'm a big Mariota guy. Even now, I love Mariota. I think he's just a great dude. He's just an awesome guy. But he was an electric quarterback for a while. I think he got a really bad rap as a Titans player. Cast him out near the end, and that kind of made me sad as a fan, and also just somebody that loved a particular player for a team. So yeah, those.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, you know, I didn't stay up with the Titans and really know why they let go of Mariota, but I always thought he was good. I didn't think that like Tannehill was better at the time. You know, like I didn't actually know because I thought they were pretty fairly close level wise. So I was always curious on why they let him go, and then seeing him, he didn't do great, but getting a start again in the NFL was nice to see him. Have you seen I think it's Netflix with the quarterbacks? Have you seen that?
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard good things. I've heard that it's very obvious why Patrick Mahomes is better than both of these guys.
Yeah, because he's a dog.
Yeah,
like the other two are just like too nice. Kirk Cousins sings his kids to sleep every night. You know, like there's just like these soft traits that go on, and then you see Pat Mahomes. He's the only one swearing like consistently, and like you can just tell like he's just here to play football. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. He just like wants to be a dog. And like the other ones are like, I just want to keep my family happy. You know, I'm extremely blessed to do what I've done. Like Kirk Cousins, he's like, dude, you haven't won anything. You should be pissed off. You know, and they're just kind of settled.
Being a professional athlete, but especially a professional quarterback in the NFL, is probably one of the hardest jobs I don't want to say in the world, because there's so many jobs that are terrible and difficult. Like these guys make a lot of money, so there's that to go along with it. But like they got a lot of pressure. They got a lot of things to comprehend all the time. They got a lot of things that a lot of people they got to deal with. And some guys just aren't cut out for it. Like it happens all the time. Talent in the world, but it's not about the talent. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not the most talented quarterback from a statistical perspective, if you really want to look at it. Peyton Manning probably is.
Yeah, he says it all the time.
Yeah, but he had the intangibles. He had the no quit mentality. He had this is how we're fucking doing it, boys. Get on the fucking train or get the fuck off the train. And if you say that in your huddle to your guys that you're going to battle with, doesn't matter if you can sling the ball 60 yards. They're going to roll with you. And a lot of guys don't have that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I was just curious.
Pat's also the beneficiary of having Andy Reid too.
Yeah, that definitely helps. That helps.
He has Andy Reid. He's got Travis Kelce. He had Tyreek Hill. He had a great offensive line, solid defense. I mean, the list goes on.
I know it's like already a year over, but were you or are you still surprised like they were so good in the air without Tyreek Hill like immediately after?
That's a good question.
And I know the first like couple weeks it was kind of iffy with their offense, but just the fact that like Andy Reid pulled it all together without like one of the best wide receivers in the league, and just does it with like Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, and just like this group of like wide receivers that nobody really wanted, and he just grouped them together and he gave them the scheme to win instead of the skills. I was just super surprised. I think about it, I just didn't know like if or how much you were surprised by that.
Not at all, because you said I saw a cool picture on Twitter the other day of Andy Reid and his coaching tree. Right. Guys that like coached under Reid. It was like Ron Rivera. I can't remember the rest of the list. It's all head coaches now. There's like 6 of them. And I mean, also people forget how amazing Eric Bieniemy is as an offensive coordinator too. Like they just put the perfect scheme together to make it. I think it would have been a lot more interesting if Travis Kelce left, because Travis Kelce is the pivot to this offense. And if he would have left, it would have been a lot more impressive if they would have done that. I mean, Tyreek
for sure.
He's got the speed. He always provides that threat on the field. But with how much Travis Kelce does to every part of the field to this offense, I would have been much more. I don't want to say impressed because I was very impressed, but I would have been a lot more impressed if Kelce left.
For sure, that would have been way different if Kelce left. But just thinking of the receivers like Scantling.
Yeah.
Green Bay dropped, didn't care. Juju, literally everyone said he's a TikTok dancer that sucks at football. Picked him up, and then Kadarius Toney gets dropped after his first year. Like 3 receivers that were completely wrote off, and then you just add one dominant tight end and one of the best quarterbacks ever, and you got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they would be terrible, but I didn't think they would be winning a Super Bowl the very next year.
No, I don't think a lot of people did. My buddy Shaggy, who also writes for Betting News, he is a humongous Chiefs fan. He goes to,
God, what a lucky dude.
I know. We were literally on the show today, and he had his fucking Chiefs hat on, and he was talking about, it'd be really nice if the Chiefs won, but then the Kansas Jayhawks won right before him. And I was like, hey, bro, fucking relax, man. You've got fucking Super Bowls. My team's been once. Relax. Calm down.
Hey, must be nice to even go, buddy. Just know
That's true.
there's
Sorry.
another fan base down there. Whenever you feel bad, just think of us.
We got a world championship in '54, but after that, nothing.
Hey, man, it all counts. They all count.
Yeah, great grandpappy witnessed that
one. Knocking back a whiskey, thinking about life, watching it on the TV like this big.
Right. Yeah, the tube.
The tube, exactly. What do you guys think of the? I got one thing. So, have you guys seen the jersey drops of all the different? Because obviously the NFL is doing the throwback jerseys this year.
I have seen some of them.
I saw that they're going back to the '90s for the Seahawks, which is pretty sweet. And then I just saw the hype video for the Broncos, the white helmet.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That was dope. So I can't wait. I don't know if the Lions has dropped yet, but and I haven't seen it for sure. So I hope when they do drop it, if they haven't already, it's gonna be. I hope it's fire.
Have Tennessee dropped theirs?
Oh, they have.
Oh, they have.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I tweeted the other day that the Tennessee Titans PR social media team is playing checkers while everybody else is playing checkers.
I did see that. Yeah.
It's cold. I mean, it's the original Tennessee Oilers, because the Titans were the Oilers for one season when they moved from Houston.
Right.
So it's those sick baby blue with the red and then the oil emblem on the side.
Oh, dude, I love that.
It's cold. I'm gonna I have a Derrick Henry jersey already. I will be purchasing I don't know which player yet, but I will be purchasing one of these Tennessee Oilers jerseys.
Hell yeah.
It's very nice.
Now, are you a big fan of the red alternate jerseys or no?
I do. I love those. I wish they'd bring them back.
Truthfully, if I play with the Titans, it's on Madden. It's the red jerseys all day.
Always the red.
I think it's pretty dope that a lot of the guys now, on the team, because it is an alternate color, they make their gloves red, their shoes red, their sleeves red. I would love it if they had that red jersey. I think that because of the way the NFL is moving right now, I think that that's probably going to start happening more and more. We saw it this year with the bringing back of these jerseys that weren't going to happen necessarily. I think they're going to start getting a little bit more adventurous because it's a business. They want to make money, right? People give a shit about that. So I love those red jerseys.
They're better than those highlighter jerseys they had Seattle wearing and shit.
Oh, yeah. Although I do kind of
Thursday night.
Those lime Seattle jerseys, man.
Right.
They look good but when you're watching it from the observer, the broadcast, you can't even see their numbers or anything. It's just
what?
It's distorts it because it's so much highlighter on them. But I like switching shit up. I don't like to have everything, like baseball where it's just this historic shit that we can't mess up and everything's got to stay the same and shit. So that's cool with the NFL doing that.
The Lions did drop their alternate jerseys. It's like a chrome Honolulu blue with an alternate lion in the middle. It looks pretty sweet.
As long as it's not that, I don't like the gray. That gray is just ugly. It's just this. It's like a wall gray. Yeah, it's it's not silver. It's not sleek. It's just gray.
Unfortunately, I think they're gonna wear these helmets with the gray uniforms.
Oh, fucking course.
Yep.
They're trying to spice it up a little bit because they know the unis are bad.
Yeah, they have to do something. I mean, but one thing I will say is I'm a big soccer fan. I lived in London. My dad's British, so I went to a lot of EPL games. Some of the most electric sports viewing you can ever do live. But soccer players and soccer teams, they know what's up with jerseys. They switch their jerseys every year. They got about 700 of them. They all are fucking sick. They
more money too. Every year you want a new jersey, a new kit.
New kit,
got that new kit this year, baby.
Fucking 100 pounds, and people buy them every year, even though they're just one line color. But I mean, they do the alternate jerseys. Like last year, Arsenal's was pink, which was sick. I have it. I was gonna wear it actually, but that's where you can make extra money. And I think the NFL, baseball, we see it a lot in basketball. Like they do that a lot in the NBA. But I think they're gonna start doing that more and more because they see the creative market for it.
Right. I mean, for sure, like the MLB's going to the City Connect jerseys that are the uniforms that are totally different scheme and more tied to what the city is that the MLB teams are in, which the Mariners hat that I typically wear sometimes, that's one of the City Connects. I had to buy it because it looks sweet. So
it's sick.
It's money.
Limited edition, bro.
Right.
That's what'll get you every time. It's just this year. Next year will be different. And you're like, fuck, I got to buy it.
Take
it's
my
like
money.
The new Call of Duty, dude. You just have to buy it.
Right.
I don't mind the other one, but I just have to buy the new one.
And then you play it, and then the next one comes out, and the other one turns into a coaster.
Oh, every time, dude.
Every time.
Never seen it.
Do you have like an all-time best bet or worst bet? And my reference is I talked to Gino a few weeks ago. We had him on the podcast, and his worst bet is like obviously he had Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots.
Oh god!
In the Super Bowl, so like his ass was by halftime. He was already buying bottles and doing his thing. You already know Gino was. They were up so much, and then he said that you almost can't have a worse loss than that. But I just didn't know if you had like another something like that, or like just a very bad beat that you remember or sticks out to you.
That is an atrocious beat. So I have a great one. I told you guys earlier, it got me banned on Twitter. The lotto that I hit. However, I mean, I actually, so that one was in February. Since February, I hit a $5 lotto of plus 10,000 or higher every month since then. I haven't done it in July, which is a painful experience for me. But I hit one in March, April, May, and June. So like $5 pays like, it's probably like, I don't know, between like $800 and $1,500, which was awesome.
Fuck yeah. Hey, you still got time, baby.
I know.
5 days.
Still a couple days left.
We cook them every day on afternoon espresso, and the guys always fuck with me because I say, "Boys, this might be the one today." And they're like, "Yeah, I say that every day." So that was probably the best stuff I did there. Although I'll give a separate one. So last year my big replaced. So I'm a $25 unit guy. All my units are $25. I placed a 5-unit play, so it was $125 last year. For Derrick Henry to have over his rushing yards in the last game of the season against the Jags. Cash money. It was easy.
Free cash with the king.
I loved it. It was great. They lost, which sucked, but at least I cashed out, which was amazing.
That's a win. That's still a win.
Exactly. So if I was like, even if they lose, he's going to get the ball 30 times.
Right.
So, unless he just has, and he eats against the Jags. Anyway, so that was a great one for like, I guess, money value one. That worst loss, before I knew what I was doing when I was sports betting in the very beginning of my career, I got a deposit bonus, and I placed like a $750 wager on Nikola Jokic and Domantas Sabonis. They were playing against each other in the NBA. The bet was they had to have 15 assists between the two of them. It was a combo bet. It's plus 500, and I put $750 on it because it was like the deposit bonus money, so like they matched it now.
Yeah.
Again, this was like the first like 6 months of my betting career. And they had 14 motherfucking assists going into the third quarter, and they finished with 14 assists.
Oh shit. Oh no. The fact that you're still in the game is impressive, my friend.
Well, it was a good learning experience, because that was the closest cash out at that point. I think it would have been like, I don't know, a couple grand or something, which would have been awesome. Right. So I was already counting the dollars in my head, man. And it was early on. So I was like, oh, this is easy. This is great. And then it all came crashing down, which was a good experience to remind myself of like, okay, so this isn't guaranteed. This money does go away. Let me fix how I do this. Right. So it was a good learning experience, but also it was very painful for me to bet on the NBA after that for a couple months, for sure.
Oh, I bet. At least you're a little older now. You can actually reflect on it. But I'm sure within those first few days, you fucking hated the NBA. You're like, how did you not just get one in, combined for two people?
It was Jokic and Sabonis, dude. Like I was like, surely these motherfuckers. And the game was close. Like they played the rest of the game. It was probably the worst hook I've ever had in my life. That's a question for you guys. Do you like to get hooked more, or do you like to just know your shit's toast and you're not even have to watch the rest of the game?
Bro, I need my shit to be toast.
110%.
If I get hooked, I am sick.
Get hurt in the first quarter, so it's not even close.
I would just rather not watch the whole game.
Yep.
Looking for these, one or two bets. If I can just know they're chalked away, then I can just go do whatever else I want. Because I'm not one of those bettors that will bet and then just not watch the game. Like they'll just like go live their life and then go check their app again. Like, no, I'm a degen. I'm literally gonna watch the bets I place.
Yeah.
Because that's the action I like. That's the endorphins I love.
That's why you press the buttons, man. I mean, I can't watch every single thing that I bet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a big baseball. I like baseball this season a lot better than I have in previous years, but I'm not a huge baseball guy, so I don't watch a lot of the baseball bets that I place. But yeah, I would much rather know shit's caked way early, so I can just get on with my life. Because if I get hooked, there's nothing worse. Although I have some buddies that say they'd rather get fucking hooked. They'd rather get close.
That's crazy, dude. Those people need to be checked out because that's wild.
Well, Paul, if Paul's watching, shout out you, man. He said he would rather get hooked, and I was like, no
just so it keeps him in the game.
I guess. I mean, I guess it does make it exciting if you are watching, so then for the entire game that you're like paying attention the whole time. There is that electric moment where it happens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But
who doesn't like a little blood pressure elevation?
I had another good bet cash. This was 2 baseball seasons ago. Last baseball season. I needed Freddie Freeman to get one more base to cash a 4-leg parlay. It was the last leg. And it was the last game of the night. He already had a base, and he came up to bat. He needed one more base, and he smacked a home run. And I watched
electric.
It. Oh, dude. I think that might be one of the most electric experience. Got to hit a dinger, then you need it.
Oh, you heard the crack of the bat, and you knew that was it, dude.
Oh yeah, I just Freddie.
Stand up, thank you.
Yeah, I literally was in bed and I just watched it. And I was like, yes! It was awesome. So good. That and touchdowns. Those are the two.
Oh my god, touchdown prop parlays there's something. Football season is going to be something this year. It's a movie every year.
It is a movie every year.
You get those people who be like, dude, I'm not a baseball bettor. I'm a football bettor. They suck during football. I'm not a football bettor. I'm a basketball bettor. Yeah, I'm mainly cat basketball.
I'm actually great at ping pong, man. Just ping pong.
Russian table tennis, baby. I am a demon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Baseball sucks to bet.
I mean, even if I'm not watching it, I'm still like checking the game cast. Like if it's like pitcher strikeouts or something, like it's still like occupying my mind. I can't just like play something and just like look back at the end of the night. Those people are sociopaths.
This is my first season betting baseball start to finish because I'm writing. Okay. I write about it every day and cover it every day, and so I had to put my money where my mouth was. And so I'm a prop bettor mostly. I like to bet on players instead of teams for the most part. In the NFL, I'll dabble in some totals or some wins and some spreads and stuff, but most of the time I just like to stick with props. And total basis has been fun this year for me. I'm up a single unit, but I've placed like over 130 bets so far this season. So I know a lot of really sharp baseball minds that are down units right now. So I'm just happy to be in the positive right now.
Dude, green is green. Me and Gino talked about it. Green is green, especially when you go over, like 100 days straight and you're betting at least a unit to 3 units a day. If you're in the green, you're doing what you love and you're making a little money. As long as you're not losing. I mean, if that's what you want to do as your hobby and you're not losing, you're up.
Long-term goals, baby, especially in baseball. 162 games, long season. I talked about it in the last couple of pieces that I was writing. Like, if something goes, I went 0 for 3 one day. Like, I reverse swept. Shit happens all the time.
Always.
Yeah, and like I wrote it, and I was like, just because you go have a bad day, you can't disregard certain batters or certain people, right? Like a lot of guys, you like they sold on me. I'm never betting on them again.
Oh, dude, that is so annoying.
I swear to God,
Holden.
Oh man, is he your guy?
He's my dude. I cannot touch.
Oh, there you go. Everyone has that one guy.
Everyone's got one guy or team in the graveyard for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I did it the other day, I bet on Lane Thomas in a great matchup with the Cubs, and he went 0 for 4 with 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. You know what I did? I bet
got
that
him the next day.
And you know what he did first at bat? See you later. Home run. It happens all the time.
That is
Yeah,
the nice
for
thing
sure.
about baseball. If they go 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, like the next game, they should get a hit, you would think. But
You would think,
it doesn't
right?
always happen like that. But for
The
most
classic, she's due.
Right.
She is due.
due. She is so due. I have a bunch of friends who say like due is only for the grass, and then I have some buddies that are like they're so due. It's so a thing.
Oh yeah, due's only for the grass. I like that. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Put that on a t-shirt.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Due is
I
only
like
for the
that.
grass. Yeah.
All right, dude. We're like an hour and 15 in. I just want our audience to be able to find you. So just let them know what you do, all your ads on social media and stuff. Just be the plug.
Be the plug for the well, first of all, guys, thanks so much for having me on. Really awesome. Appreciate you guys. I love what you do. Maybe at some point throughout the NFL season I'll have to swing back on and get involved again. But I appreciate you guys having me. Like I said, like these gentlemen have talked about, my name is Sweatpant Jesus. You guys can find me on Twitter at Sweatpant Jesus, the singular pant. The other account doesn't exist anymore. We talked about that too. I work for Betting News. Go to bettingnews.com. You can read all of my stories on there, write about a little bit of everything in the sports betting world, and go follow us on Twitter as well at Your Betting News. Also, go give us a follow on Twitch. We do a show every single Monday through Friday, 5:30 Eastern time, afternoon Betspresso, talking about our favorite bets, playing some games, having some fun. We're going to probably have these two gentlemen join us on the show in the next couple of weeks. Have some fun with you guys. So come and get involved with us on Twitch as well, afternoon Betspresso.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you again. It's been an absolute honor, man. And I look forward, me and Dunny both, I could speak for him. We both look forward to hopping on the Betspresso and, catching up again.
Oh, man, it's going to be awesome. Thanks again, gentlemen. Appreciate you so much. And let's have some fun tonight, as always.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you later.
Peace.
Adios.